Okay, hey everyone, I'm Andrew Marston for the Ukramedia YouTube channel, and in today's After Effects tutorial, we're going to be learning how to toggle the visibility of multiple layers using a single slider. So this tutorial was actually suggested by a member of the Ukramedia mentoring group, and if you haven't joined our group here on Facebook, I highly recommend you do. Lots of great community going on. And a couple days ago, I posted this. I said, I'm planning my next tutorial for the Ukramedia YouTube channel. Anyone have any suggestions? And there were a lot of really good suggestions, some of which I'm completely unqualified to make a video about. But this one from right here from Kevin-esque Kev came through. And Kevin-esque Kev his real name's Kevin Gomez, he's a fantastic illustrator and animator in his own right. Here's a video that he was the illustrator for this video for the CDC. Really, really good stuff. Anyway, just a little plug for my friend Kevin there. But he said, and I'll try to read this in Kevin's voice. Hey, Andrew, you're so awesome. I wish one day I can be as cool as you. Can you please do a tutorial on how one would go about setting up a rig, like the one you did in the first tutorial you made for Ukramedia? It was mentioned seen around the 1 minute mark of this video, which I have open here. And I've already rigged up using Essential Graphics a slider whose value, when changed, will change the icon. And okay, so you can see that in this lower third, there's this little icon that will change based on the slider value. So yeah, that is what we're going to make today. Thanks for the suggestion, Kevin. So first, we're going to make a simple lower thirds graphic. Then we'll set up our rig and composition to display our icons using a slider. And last, we'll use Essential Graphics to access this slider from our main composition to put everything together. All right, so here we are in After Effects, and let me show you what we'll be making. It is a very simple animated lower thirds. I'm just going to zoom in so it's easier to see. Very simple animated lower thirds with a name and also an icon. Now the icon changes when we change the value of this property here, which is linked to a slider. So from 5 to 4, the icon changes. All right, so let's go ahead and make this from scratch. I was tempted to have the lower thirds part of this project pre-made and we would just start from there, but it's just so easy to make a graphic like this that I thought I'd show you how I would do it. So with the type tool, I'm going to click and then input some text. In this case, we'll use our friend Kevin as the example. And next we want to create the box that goes behind this text. So in this case, I would use the Smart Rect tool that is part of the Ukramedia Smart Bundle on ukramedia.com. And under the margin option of the drop-down, I'm going to input how big of a gap I want between the edge of the text box and the edge of the text. And actually, I want 120 pixels on the left to leave room for that icon. And then over here, I'm going to click where I want the anchor point of the box to be. And when I do, boom, we've created our text box. And if we move the text layer, the box follows. And if we input some other text, then the box will resize automatically. Perfect. So next we want to animate these words. And I would do that with the Smart Animator script, which is also part of the Ukramedia Smart Bundle. I'm going to go with the position option because I want this text to start below the box and animate up onto the box. So the Y value beforehand will be 100 pixels below where it is now. So with that typed in, I'm going to hit play. And there is a problem right away that we'll notice, and that is that the text box resizes as the text animates. And this is actually really easy to solve. We just click the shape layer that is our text box, and under the Smart Rect effect, under shape size settings, we can change where in time it's determining the size of that shape. So width is based on, instead of current time, we want a nice safe moment in time, like the middle point of the comp. And the height is also going to be based on the middle point of the comp. And now you can see that when we hit play, that the box stays still as the text animates up. And if we change the text to something else, then the box also automatically resizes. Perfect. So with that set up, next it's time to add the icons. So I do already have a composition set up that has a bunch of icons with transparent backgrounds already in it. And I got these from Font Awesome, if anybody's wondering. It's a great repository of free icons that you can use. And so our goal is to toggle the visibility of these layers using a slider. So we're going to do that on a control layer. So layer, new shape layer. I'm going to rename that to control and then make it yellow. I probably could have used this plugin, which is called Labels 3. Some people have asked what this is. This is Labels 3 on AE scripts. And then I'm going to make it a guide layer just to be safe. I'm going to add a slider and rename that to icon select. Perfect. I'm going to move that to the bottom of the layer stack. And I'm going to reveal that slider so that I can pick up to it when we write expressions. So now we need to add an expression to the opacity of these layers. So I'm going to hit T on my keyboard to bring up opacity, alt-click on the stopwatch, and then I'm going to declare a variable. In this case, I'm calling it source, but you can call these variables anything you want. Pick whip to the slider, hit semicolon, and now the only other part of this expression is an if-else statement. So if, open parentheses, source equals index. So this is our slider value and then the index number for our layer. So if these two are equal, then open curly brackets, we want that value to be 100. And if they are not equal, we want it to be 0. Great. So if I click away, we see that the opacity value of this layer has changed to 0. And that's because the slider value does not equal the layer index number. But as soon as I change that slider value to 1, which is the index of this layer, then the opacity of that layer changes to 100. Perfect. So with our expression up and running, I'm going to right click on the opacity property where the expression is, click copy expression only, select all my layers and then paste that expression. And now we're pretty much there. If I change the value of this slider to 2, now our second layer is visible. If I change it to 3, then our third layer is visible. So this was the reason that I didn't put our control layer at the top of the layer stack, because if I do, then it becomes layer number 1 and it offsets all the other layers. So if our slider value is 1, it's basically showing nothing. So I'm going to leave that at the bottom. And now our rig is more or less complete. All right, so we are pretty much there. We have this lower thirds graphic that animates on with this icon that can be easily changed using the slider on the control layer of our icon composition. And let's take a look. You know, I just noticed that this box should be animating on from the left, and that is super easy to do with SmartRect. Under the SmartRect effect, we'll go and keyframe the X scale. I'm going to hit U to bring up my keyframes. Go to the beginning of the composition and enter starting value of 0. What does that look like? Looks pretty good. I'm going to add a little easing. Perfect. So what we really want now is to be able to change this icon without going into that icon composition. And that is super easy to do. In the icon composition, we're going to make sure that the essential graphics panel is visible. And then we're just going to drag that slider onto the essential graphics panel. I'm going to rename it icon select so that we know what it is. Now, if we go back into our main composition, we can see that our icons layer, or the layer that has the composition with our icons in it, has this essential properties option. And if we toggle that arrow, we can see that our icon select slider value is now visible. If we change that, we can change the icon without going into the icon composition. So that's the whole project. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the like button on this video so that YouTube knows to promote it to the entire internet. All right, thanks. Have a good day.